Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be doing another ranking video. Today we are ranking the entire Final Destination series. Yes, there's 6 movies here. I recently caught the new one, Bloodlines, and I've also reviewed every single one of these movies on this channel. So if you guys would like to check them out in spoiler form, apart from the 6th one that is spoiler free, I'll leave my review playlist down below in the description there, alongside lots of other rankings if you guys would like to check them out as well. Now, I've had a lot of fun with this series. I think it's up there now with Scream, Aliens, Evil Dead, for the best horror franchises. When I say that, I mean the most consistent horror franchises, whereas there is a film in there that I don't dislike. I mean, I've liked every single one of these films, even the most hated one, The Final Destination. Yes, I mean, I know it has a lot of problems. I'll speak about them shortly. But I just enjoyed every single movie here. And I just think it has a formula that totally works. It's just a lot of fun with lots of creative kills and strong openings. So let's just get into it now with the worst movie in this franchise, but one that I still kind of did like, in 6th place. Coming in 6th place is, yes, the 4th movie in this franchise, The Final Destination. Now, yeah, I know a lot of people say this one ruins the franchise and it's one of the worst horror movies ever made. I'm not quite there with that. I enjoy the kills here. I mean, it's mainly about the kills. There is not really any story here. It is just opening sequence, kill, 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 kill. Shortest movie in the entire franchise at 82 minutes. That's all it is. So I'm one of them people who usually likes story in his movies, but like, again, this franchise doesn't do too much with the story anyway. They just incorporate little things here and there to try and bend the rules a little bit. However, this one doesn't really do any of that, apart from one thing where they bring back that rule that I absolutely hate from Final Destination 2, where if you're not next in line, you can't be killed. There's this guy who thinks he's next in line, and he isn't, and he tries to hang himself, he tries to gas himself in his car. None of it works. You know, it's just failure after failure. That, to me, is a terrible rule, where it basically just makes you a superhero until you're next in line. So that is the kind of only thing they try and do with the story here, but it's nothing new because it came from Final Destination 2. And this is the same director as Final Destination 2 and David R. Ellis as well. But I think this has got an enjoyable opening sequence at the racetrack. And the creative kills here are fun. I really like the one where that lawnmower sort of rides over a pebble and it's shooting that woman's eye. And she is credited as MILF in this movie. Can you believe that? There's also this guy who's quite racist, and there's some random racism thrown in there, but he is credited as racist guy. And then we've got racist guy's wife. So yeah, the movie is a little bit of a mess there. There's some shoddy effects here, like the CGI and stuff and the green screen isn't great. You can tell that they just done that opening scene for the 3D effect. It's kind of like they said, we're going to do a Final Destination movie in 3D, and then we'll think about the opening premonition afterwards there, because a lot of this premonition just includes cars and car parts flying at the screen to give you that 3D effect, really. And then there's like spikes going through people and everything like that come towards the camera. So yeah, the 3D effect does hurt this movie. There's also some shoddy CGI blood and everything in there, but it doesn't take away my enjoyment of the kills here. I mean, I'm just one of them people who can tolerate it. Maybe I went into this movie with such low expectations because I was expecting one of the worst things ever made, but I still enjoy the formula we're throwing up here. However, it's got a terrible cast of characters, probably the worst bunch of characters in the entire series here. The main guy is just so boring and dull. His girlfriend, Laurie, is okay. She's about the best. But they've got this blonde arsehole who, literally, speaking of arseholes, is suctioned through a plug hole in the swimming pool by his arsehole and just put into pieces there. As good as the kills are in this movie, well, as much as I enjoy the kills, that was a terrible one. I will give it that. But it's an easy watch for me. I mean, it's not as good as the rest of the movies. Obviously, it's last on this list. But I enjoyed it to a certain amount. But it is the weakest one in the franchise. So that is The Final Destination. Next up is Final Destination 2. Maybe a bit of a shocker to some people here, but for me, I think this movie is a little bit of a mess. Now, what I will say is it's got a great opening scene, once again, one of the most memorable ones here, one that a lot of people can relate to, I think, where a lot of people just drive on a daily basis down motorways and stuff, and I think a lot of people will get away from any wagon that is carrying logs of a tree now, won't they? No one's ever going to drive next to one of them because of this movie. I think 95% of people who've watched this film are not going near that. So, yeah, pretty relatable opening scene. I think it's got some good characters in here, you know, some of them. And I think some of the kills here are really fun. Like the one where the barbed wire fence just cuts that guy open. It's kind of like the Resident Evil movie kill with the lasers and stuff. We also got one of my favorites where that glass pane just falls on that kid who's been taken to the dentist by his mum, just crushes him to bits there. So yeah, it's got some cool kills, and it's got a more comedic tone, especially the ending where that guy just puts the barbecue on and blows to pieces. It ends on a really fun note, and his arm just drops off in front of his mum there. So yeah, it goes for a more comedic element and just tries to have a lot more fun with the whole concept than the first movie did. The first movie is a lot more grounded, which I do prefer. But it brings the fun factor. However, there's lots of rules thrown into this movie where it just makes it feel very messy and way over too ambitious. Now, I like story changed up a bit. Not just copy and paste in the first film, although a lot of it does copy and paste the first film. But it brings rules in that I just don't like. The one I mentioned before in the Final Destination, where if you're in line next, you can't die. There's one moment where the guy picks a gun up with 6 bullets in and fires them at his head, and none of them go off. They are all duds because he's not next in line. Now, that is absolute bullshit to me. I hate that rule. There's also other rules thrown in where William Bloodsworth sort of says new life will wipe the slate clean and you can survive, basically. And we all go on this wild goose chase where they think this woman who survived the premonition at the start is pregnant, and they just have to save her baby and it can wipe the whole slate clean. And we followed that for about 10 minutes there, and it's not actually that. It's something totally different. So yeah, there's just all sorts of things that just don't come together with this movie. I also feel like it's the second worst looking movie in this entire series. Again, same director, David R. Ellis. It's just got this weird, cheap-looking filter on it. It just doesn't work for me, unfortunately. But one of the highlights, again, is Clear Rivers. Her coming back as, like, this legendary character, even though it's only been one movie, to help these characters try and get through what they're trying to get through, because death is coming after them all, of course. I liked her in this film as well. So, it's fine. I enjoy it enough. But, you know, it's not really one I'd return to very much. Out of the first 3 movies, as a teenager, I think I only watched this one once. I always used to return to 1 and 3 a lot more than this one. But it's okay. So that is Final Destination 2. Next up, we have Final Destination 5, which was actually a first time watch for me. And yeah, I never got to it. I don't know why. But I really thought the series got back on track here after the 4th one. Again, I did like the 4th one, but this one just felt a little bit more professionally made and, you know, tried to get it a little bit more grounded after the very silly tone of parts 2 and 4. But we open with a fantastic premonition scene here where the bridge is collapsing and stuff. A fear of a lot of people who don't like going across bridges. And we're going like one of the biggest bridges you've ever seen here. It starts to crumble and stuff, and there's a lot of cool death scenes thrown in that opening scene, especially where the tar melts that guy's face, and someone falls from the bridge, survives, and she gets out the water, but a car falls on top of her and stuff. Very, very cruel opening scene. I think this was the longest opening scene up until the 6th movie, I believe. I think that one might just be longer now, but don't quote me on that. But there's some really cool deaths thrown in here as well. The laser eye surgery scene is a fun one. And the gymnastics scene, of course, probably my second favourite creative kill in this entire series. It's up there anyway. It's a top 3 death scene from Final Destination films. Really, really well done that. And I think the characters are fine here. They try to link them all together, you know, to have this bond because they're all sort of workmates. A lot of the other characters in a lot of the other movies are just random strangers who come together. This one kind of feels like they all know each other quite well, and the chemistry is there a little bit more. Although I didn't really like the romance side of things between the two main characters, Sam and Molly. I think just Molly was a little bit of a miserable character, and she kind of let that chemistry down a little bit there. But there's also a scene that I don't like where one of the characters in this movie loses his girlfriend, and he turned into a little bit of a psychopathic serial killer, but he's actually enjoying what he's doing here. He's suddenly just become this murdering madman, and that just didn't quite click with me, although it was a fresh new take, I thought, trying something different there. I do like the new rule they bring in where characters can kill someone and take their lifespan, and then they will cheat death and take that person's lifespan, however long they had left. That was interesting, trying to bring something new in there. And the ending scene, of course, is the big one. Now, I couldn't believe what I was seeing here. I'd heard rumblings that this was linked to the first movie, but when you actually see that at the end, yeah, blew me away. I was like, holy damn shit. Really? What a twist ending that was. And for the movies to just come full circle there, felt like a really fitting end to this series. Although we do have a new one now, but that wasn't for a long time. I think it was more like 14, 15 years till we got Bloodlines. So yeah, Final Destination 5, it's a pretty good movie. And yeah, got the franchise back on track there. So that's Final Destination 5. Next up is Final Destination 3. I imagine a lot of people would have this as number 1 on their list. They just seem to bring it up a lot when talking about Final Destination movies. Oh, the roller coaster one. I really like that one. Yeah, it is a good movie. I like a lot about this. I think it's got maybe the best protagonist in all of these movies. Maybe alongside Alex there, I think Wendy is brilliant, and it's really helped along by Mary Elizabeth Winstead's acting ability. Maybe the best actress in this entire franchise. I've always liked her as an actress, and she brings her A game once again here. This, of course, another great opening, premonition on the roller coaster. And what I like about this is a lot of the other premonitions are just everyday things where, you're driving down a motorway. A lot of people take planes every day, or someone's crossing a bridge on a highway, going into a building, as part 6 is, just going to a restaurant there. Here, alongside part 4, this is the only ones where I think someone would go to have a lot of fun, basically. It's you go into the theme park with your friends to have the time of your life, and for something to go very, very wrong there, yeah, it just does. It makes it seem like more cruel, I think. And that roller coaster scene opening is awesome. But I like a lot of things after this as well, where Wendy is discovering who is next and how they're going to die by the photos that she's taking. She's got this digital camera in the theme park at the start of the movie. She's taking pictures of everyone. And when she looks back on them after she's had this premonition and gotten off to the roller coaster, it sort of tells you how they're going to die. And I really like that. I thought that was kind of better than having premonitions where we can sort of work it out, or she can work it out for herself. I thought that was interesting. Some really cool kills in this one. Probably the best death scene in the entire franchise in the sunbed kill. A lot of people are freaked out by sunbeds now, aren't they? Because they've seen this movie, and you can't blame them. I mean, that is a painful death scene right there. Also got the nail guns kill with the nails going through that girl's head and stuff. I think it's a fine movie, and it feels very grounded like the first film, where the second one went a little bit silly. This one brings it back there to be a more serious tone, and I definitely prefer that with these films, even though the kills still may be silly in them movies. But yeah, I like the way they brought that back a little bit. My main problem is, apart from the whole photo thing, this is a copy and paste version of the first movie. It plays it a little bit too safe, whereas the second movie tried to do way too many things. I think this third movie says, oh, hang on, that was way too much, we're just going to play it safe now. But you can also say the second movie is trying to do too much and still try and do something a little bit more different than just bring it all back to simple things, just because it's a formula that works, basically. But overall, solid movie, and it's probably a lot of people's favorites, just not mine. Although I will say as well, I like the way they end the movie with a premonition scene. And yeah, I wasn't expecting that, really. And another premonition at the end on the train there. Not as good as the opening, but still a solid little ending there, I suppose. So it's Final Destination 3. Next up is the newest kid on the block, Final Destination Bloodlines. I can't believe how much I really enjoyed this movie. It surprised the heck out of me. Although, why should I be surprised? Because I've enjoyed all the movies in this series. But to have it this high, a sixth entry in the franchise, man, that's why I'm more surprised. But what I love about this one, it changes the formula and does something totally new, totally different. Well, I wouldn't say totally. It does bring a lot of the formula with it, but it feels a lot more different to what the other movies are trying to do. So basically, we've got Death here, who, this woman has a premonition at the start of the movie, but she wakes from this premonition. Look, I don't want to get into too many spoilers, guys. If you haven't seen the sixth movie and you don't want to know anything, maybe turn the video off now. But I will say that she makes a lot of these people survive this premonition, and death is coming after all of those people, and all of those people who've had families and coming after their family members one by one over the years. And I think that was just such an interesting concept to have, because all these people should have died in that building collapse at the start of the movie, and they didn't. And it took so long for death to come after them all, and they're basically on the final family now, which is our main protagonist's family there. But the opening premonition is awesome. I think it might be the longest premonition scene up to now. The fact that we start in the 50s and then jump straight ahead to our main character in the present day, because she's having this premonition in her dreams that her grandmother had, was so interesting to me. And death feels a lot more brutal and sinister in this movie, because he's been coming after all these people for so many years. And there's some great death scenes in here. I mean, like, as a collective, I think this one might have the best bunch of death scenes in any movie. The garbage truck kill was just absolutely insane to me. The MRI kill, oh my god, that might be up there alongside the gymnastics scene and, the sunbed scene there as the best deaths in this entire movie. Great bunch of characters. I really liked our main protagonist there, and we've got a cool, the cool character Eric, who everyone seems to love, and his brother who's allergic to the nuts and stuff. He was a good character. I just think this brought a lot of new, fresh ideas to the franchise. It just had great writing, and there was so many ways they could have tripped up and had all these plot holes along the way, but the writing is so on point that it just ties it all together, and it really gave Tony Todd the send-off he deserved. Not just Tony Todd himself, but the character of William Bloodsworth, who I've always been scratching my head about in this franchise. What is he actually doing here? But this one explains the whole lot, and that was such a good way to wrap his character up. So rest in peace, Tony Todd. I think you got the send-off you deserved here. There's some shoddy looking CGI here. The building itself at the start of the movie, you can just tell it's all done by computer-generated images. It doesn't look great. But apart from that, guys, I don't really have too many complaints with this movie. I thought it was pretty solid. And yeah, one of the best sixth entries I've ever seen in a franchise. So that is Final Destination Bloodlines. Coming in first place, though, is going to be the original Final Destination. And I'm very surprised that I don't see this at many people's first place in the rankings, because this, for me, is the scariest movie ever made alongside the Blair Witch Project. Now, a lot of you might be scratching your head and saying, what the hell are you on about? But psychologically, this movie has scarred me for life. I am not a good flyer. I hate getting on airplanes. And this movie just made that fear even more intensified. That opening scene, to me, is the greatest opening scene I've ever seen in any horror movie ever. The fact that it is all Alex, building up as he gets to the airport, and then just having this horrific plane crash to only get off it and then see that damn thing explode. Teenage me was blown away. I was like, holy shit, what the hell is this movie going on here? And it really does set up the rest of the film. You're like, wow, like, what's going on? Why is this guy getting these premonitions and stuff? And when the characters start to die one by one, it just feels so brand new. It was like a slasher movie with an invisible killer, uses that formula. So many cool creative kills, like Todd getting strangled by the wire, Miss Luton going through all these different phases of knives landing in and stuff, to, the knife's being stuck in her, to other things falling on top of the knife to dig it deeper and stuff, and she's getting her neck sliced because the computer screen blew up into her face and stuff like that. I just thought this was such a fresh concept at the time, something new, something original that totally worked. We got Alex here, played by Devon Sawyer, who again is one of the best characters in this entire film series, alongside Clea Rivers, who I think is another great actor, another great character here. But you got the jock, who's just a total asshole, who's bullying the geek, and all these characters just kind of come together there. And then in the end, it's all trying to work together to survive, even though they kind of all miscast, sort of misfits who would not get along in real life. So yeah, I love Final Destination. I don't have too many complaints about this movie at all. My one gripe with it is sort of towards the end, they kind of don't know what to do with the third act. Whereas the third movie brought another premonition scene in. The third act has Alex fighting with an electric cable to help Clea Rivers. Not the most inventive thing, and I don't think they kind of knew how to get the hero to take on death because he was invisible, basically. But apart from that, man, I love this movie. I think it's solid, and the very end scene makes up for that third act, where death is coming after them again because they've cheated death for the second time. So yeah, for me, Final Destination is easily number one in this franchise. I don't know if it'll ever be beaten. Final Destination Bloodlines I give it the same score, but I was always going to put this as number one. I just absolutely love this movie. It's in my top 30 horror movies of all time. It's friggin' awesome. And for me, it has to be number one. Okay, guys, hope you all enjoyed this Final Destination franchise ranking. Please leave your rankings down below. Do you agree with my thoughts? Do you disagree? Please do let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this franchise and your rankings as well. If horror is your sort of thing, please don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to this channel. It really helped me out. Don't forget to check out my Final Destination reviews down below alongside some other rankings there. Thanks so much, guys. You take care, and I'll see you on the next video.